If you're over 60 and waking up in the middle of the night soaked in sweat, shaking, or feeling your heart race, your blood sugar might be crashing while you sleep, and the hidden reason has nothing to do with what you ate for dinner. In the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through exactly why this happens, the one timing mistake that makes it 10 times worse, and a simple bedtime routine that can stop it from happening tonight. Before we go any further, nothing in this video replaces your doctor's advice. If you're experiencing severe symptoms or taking diabetes medication, talk to your healthcare provider before making any changes. But what I'm about to share comes from patterns clinicians see every day in older adults, and it could be the missing piece you've been looking for. Here's what most people don't realize. Nighttime blood sugar crashes aren't always about eating too little or taking too much medication. For many seniors, the real problem starts hours before bed, and it has everything to do with how your body's internal clock changes after 60. Your pancreas, your liver, and even your muscles don't respond to insulin the way they used to. And when you combine that with common evening habits, you create the perfect storm for a dangerous drop while you're asleep. Let me paint you a picture. It's around 2 or 3 in the morning. You wake up suddenly, your pajamas are damp, your hands are trembling, you feel anxious, confused, maybe even a little nauseous. You stumble to the kitchen, drink some juice, and eventually fall back asleep. But the next morning, you're exhausted, foggy, and your blood sugar reads higher than it should. You think you did something wrong. But here's the truth. That spike in the morning is your body's emergency response to the crash that happened in the dark. It's called the Somogyi effect, and it tricks people into thinking they need less medication or less food at night when the opposite might be true. So what causes these crashes in the first place? Research suggests there are 3 major triggers that stack on top of each other, especially in older adults. The first is what doctors call prolonged fasting. If you finish dinner at 6 and don't eat again until 7 the next morning, that's 13 hours without food. For someone in their 30s or 40s, that might be fine. But after 60, your liver's ability to release stored glucose during the night starts to slow down. Your body is supposed to keep your blood sugar stable while you sleep by breaking down glycogen, but if your liver isn't doing that efficiently anymore, your levels drop and drop fast. The second trigger is evening medication timing. Many seniors take their diabetes medication or insulin with dinner or right before bed. That's often what the prescription says. But what it doesn't account for is how long that medication stays active in your system. Some medications peak 4 to 6 hours after you take them. If you take your pill at 6 in the evening, it's hitting its strongest point right around midnight, exactly when your body has no food left to process. That mismatch is one of the most common hidden causes of nighttime crashes. And here's the third trigger, and this one surprises people: alcohol, even just 1 glass of wine with dinner. For seniors, alcohol doesn't just relax you, it also blocks your liver from releasing glucose overnight. So if you already have a sluggish liver response and you add a drink in the evening, you've just shut down your body's main defense against low blood sugar while you sleep. Clinicians see this pattern all the time, especially in people who only have 1 or 2 drinks and assume it's harmless. Now, before I show you what to do about this, there's a myth we need to clear up right now, because it's causing a lot of confusion. Some people think that if they wake up with high blood sugar in the morning, they must have eaten too much the night before. So they start skipping their bedtime snack, or they cut back on carbs at dinner. But that can make the problem worse. When your blood sugar crashes overnight, your body releases stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline to raise it back up. Those hormones cause what's called rebound hyperglycemia. So that high morning reading isn't because you ate too much. It's because your body panicked in the middle of the night trying to save itself. Let me give you a real example. A 68-year-old woman I'll call Mary was checking her fasting blood sugar every morning, and it was consistently between 160 and 180, way higher than her doctor wanted. So she started eating less at dinner and skipping her evening snack, but her morning numbers got worse. She felt more tired, more irritable. When her doctor finally had her check her blood sugar at 2 in the morning, it was 55. Dangerously low. Her body was crashing every single night, and every morning it was flooding her system with sugar to compensate. Once she added a small balanced snack before bed, her morning readings dropped to the 110 to 120 range within a week. The problem wasn't too much food, it was too little at the wrong time. So here's what you need to understand about how your body works at night, especially after 60. Between the hours of 2 and 4 in the morning, your body goes through what's called the dawn phenomenon. Your liver is supposed to release a small, steady stream of glucose to prepare you for waking up. But if your glucose stores are already depleted, or if your medications are still active, that process gets interrupted. Instead of a gentle rise, you get a crash followed by a surge. And that roller coaster is what leaves you feeling awful the next day. Now let's talk about what you can do starting tonight. I'm going to give you a simple 3-part action plan that addresses timing, food pairing, and symptom tracking. And then I'll show you the red flags that mean you need to call your doctor right away. First, let's talk about your bedtime snack. If you're going more than 10 hours between your last meal and breakfast, you need a small snack about 30 to 60 minutes before bed. But this isn't just any snack. You need a combination of complex carbohydrates and protein or healthy fat. The carbs give your body glucose to work with overnight, and the protein or fat slows down how fast that glucose is absorbed. This keeps your blood sugar stable for hours. A few good options: half a slice of whole grain toast with a tablespoon of peanut butter, a small apple with a handful of almonds, 3 whole grain crackers with a slice of cheese, a quarter cup of oatmeal with a few walnuts. You're not eating a meal. You're giving your liver and pancreas something to work with while you sleep. Second, review your medication timing with your doctor. I can't tell you to change your dose or stop taking anything, but you can ask your healthcare provider if it makes sense to take your medication slightly earlier in the evening, or if a different formulation might work better for overnight coverage. Some people do better with extended release versions. Some do better splitting their dose. This is a conversation worth having, especially if you've been waking up with symptoms or seeing that morning rebound spike. Third, if you drink alcohol in the evening, try moving it earlier in the day or cutting it out for 2 weeks to see if your symptoms improve. You don't have to give it up forever, but testing the pattern will give you real data. If your nighttime symptoms disappear when you stop drinking after 6, you've just identified one of your triggers. Now let's talk about tracking, because this is where most people miss the clues. If you have a glucose meter at home, check your blood sugar right before bed, and then again if you wake up with symptoms. Write down the time, the number, and how you feel. Do this for 3 to 5 nights. If you see a pattern where your bedtime number is reasonable, let's say 120, but you're waking up at 3 in the morning with sweating or shaking and your number is below 70, that's a clear sign you're crashing overnight. Bring that log to your doctor. It's one of the most helpful things you can do because it shows the pattern your morning test alone will never reveal. Here's something else to pay attention to: physical activity in the evening. If you take a long walk or do yard work after dinner, your muscles are still pulling glucose from your bloodstream for hours afterward. That's usually a good thing, but if you're already at risk for nighttime lows, evening exercise without adjusting your food or medication can push you over the edge. This doesn't mean stop moving. It means if you're active in the evening, add an extra 15 grams of carbs to your bedtime snack. A small banana, a few dried apricots, half a granola bar. Small adjustments make a big difference. Let me tell you what happens when people ignore these nighttime crashes. Over time, repeated low blood sugar episodes, especially while you're asleep, can affect your heart rhythm. They can increase your fall risk if you're getting up confused in the dark. They can worsen anxiety and depression because your stress hormones are spiking night after night. And for seniors, frequent lows can even increase the risk of cognitive decline. Your brain needs steady glucose. When it's getting starved and then flooded in cycles, that takes a toll. This isn't just about comfort, it's about protecting your long-term health. Now, before I give you the red flags to watch for, I want to address one more mistake I see all the time. Some people think the solution is to eat a big heavy dinner or load up on sugar before bed. That's not the answer. A big meal, especially one high in simple carbs or sugar, will spike your blood sugar initially, but then your body releases a surge of insulin to bring it down, and that insulin can overshoot, causing a crash a few hours later. The goal isn't to flood your system. The goal is a slow, steady release. That's why the combination of complex carbs and protein or fat works so much better than a bowl of ice cream or a handful of cookies. Here are the red flags. If you're waking up more than twice a week with sweating, shaking, confusion, or a racing heart, don't wait. Call your doctor. If you check your blood sugar during one of these episodes and it's below 70, that's a medical concern, especially if it's happening repeatedly. If you're experiencing chest pain, extreme dizziness, or you've fallen during one of these nighttime episodes, seek help immediately. And if your morning blood sugar is swinging wildly, let's say 180 one day and 95 the next with no clear reason, that's another sign your overnight levels are unstable. One more thing, if you live alone, keep a quick source of glucose on your nightstand. Glucose tablets, a small juice box, or even a few wrapped candies. If you wake up with symptoms, treat it right away. Don't try to walk to the kitchen if you're shaking or confused. Sit down, take 15 grams of fast-acting sugar, wait 10 minutes, and recheck if you can. Then follow up with a small snack that has protein to stabilize. And always tell someone, your doctor, a family member, a friend, that this is happening. Nighttime lows are not something to manage in silence. Let's bring this all together. Nighttime blood sugar crashes in seniors are often caused by three things working together: prolonged fasting overnight, medication that peaks at the wrong time, and alcohol blocking your liver's glucose release. The solution isn't to eat less or skip snacks, it's to eat the right snack at the right time, review your medication schedule with your doctor, and track your patterns so you can see what's really happening while you sleep. This is fixable, and you can start tonight. Here are your 5 most important takeaways. 1. If you're going more than 10 hours without food overnight, add a small bedtime snack that combines complex carbs with protein or fat. 2. Track your blood sugar before bed and during nighttime symptoms for at least 3 nights, then share that information with your doctor. 3. Talk to your healthcare provider about your medication timing, especially if you're taking it with dinner or right before bed. 4. Limit or eliminate alcohol after 6 in the evening for 2 weeks and watch for changes in your symptoms. And 5. Keep fast-acting glucose on your nightstand and know the red flags that mean you need immediate medical attention. If this video helped you understand what's been happening in the middle of the night, make sure you're subscribed, because in the next video, I'm going to explain the one breakfast mistake that causes blood sugar to spike and crash before lunch, and why eating earlier might not be the answer you think it is. You've taken the first step tonight. Now let's make sure you're set up for stable energy all day long. I'll see you in the next one.